year. We are grateful that you are able to join us either in person or on our live stream, and we hope that you enjoy an evening of music. This year, while challenging, has given us an opportunity to think outside the box, finding creative ways to stay in touch, do schoolwork, and most importantly, find ways to continue to live our lives. With so many changes throughout the year, the UHigh Orchestra had to find creative ways to reimagine how we make music while incorporating different configurations of both at-home and in-person students. The opening notes you just heard were from the iconic motif from Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Last year was his 250th birthday. Inspired by the creativity of Beethoven and the obstacles of the COVID restrictions, we took this time to look at classic music with a critical lens. We asked questions such as, who is this music representing? What determines whether music is good or not? And what are other ways to engage in music making? We used these questions as a springboard to reimagining the orchestra. As an orchestra, we decided to use this concert as a showcase of the creative musical work we have engaged in throughout the year. Within the digital program, you will find not only a description of the pieces, but also some of the work that has been done by students throughout the year, emphasizing our ability to be producers of music more than just consumers. Our first piece this evening is Across the Wind, a musical journey with exhilarating melodies and sweeping motifs, much like the quick pace that life moves at. We hope you enjoy, and thank you again for being here tonight.
next piece tonight is a fiddle tune. Fiddle music is an old tradition of sharing tunes by ear. It does not have to be fiddle player to fiddle player necessarily, but it is always transferred from one musician to another. Fiddle music has a connotation of being unrefined or lowbrow. It is not often found in elegant and pristine concert halls. With that being said, I am a fiddle player and hope to share fiddle music with my classmates. After some searching, we found just the right tune to share with everyone. This tune is called Salt Spring. It was composed by a modern mandolin player named John Reichman. Teaching an orchestra by ear can be challenging, but we persevered and made this possible. We also worked on some fiddling techniques throughout this whole process, such as improvising chords and harmony, making musical decisions in the movement, arranging a tune, and chopping. Chopping is a technique for stringed instruments to make percussive sounds. Sounds like this, which is just what it is. It was such an amazing experience to share what I am passionate about with such great musicians. Please enjoy the UHigh Orchestra's arrangement of Salt Spring with some solos by Joseph Suff, Joseph Shim, Noah Davison, Emma Bottomley, Renee Mohammadi, and myself.
The next item on our itinerary for this evening is a composition submitted to the IMEA All-State Composition Contest this fall by one of this year's graduating seniors. And since it also won first place, I'm sure you're able to guess that it comes from none other than the illustrious Joseph Suh. The original title of the piece is Ephemeral Stories. Due to the length of the piece, the submitted version was shortened to be about 1/3 of its original length, and is thus titled Ephemeral Stories, Movement 1. The title of this piece is a reflection of its structure, which takes the form of a musical fantasy, also known as a musical fantasia. It moves from one distinct section to the next, each of which is characterized by its own theme and motifs as a short, or ephemeral, phrase of the overall story of the piece. Similarly, each section draws upon a reference, such as a musical source of inspiration of other pieces or composers, or previous ideas. According to Joseph, the purpose of the piece was to be a short culmination of what he learned during his years in high school, and thus the nature of a fantasia. Please enjoy Ephemeral Stories, Movement 1.
everyone hear me okay? All right, I'm gonna take that as a yes. Hi, my name is Even Shin. I'm one of the seniors of the UHigh Student Chamber Orchestra. One of the other seniors, Joseph Sa, will be sharing a little bit more about who we are as a group later on. But for now, I just want to talk a little bit about our impact. Recently, the UHigh Chamber Orchestra played the piece you will hear now, She Will Hang the Night with Stars by William Holfeld, at a vigil for the Asian American and Pacific Islander community. Music is never neutral, never without emotions and purpose and a message, never anything less than a reflection of our world and the people living within it. And as people living in this world and as musicians, we are so grateful to have had the opportunity to give back to the community that has supported us so much over the years. So without further ado, here is the UHigh Chamber Orchestra playing She Will Hang the Night with Stars.
This year, music students across the world faced the unique challenge of building community through music without physically playing with each other. Many of us miss playing music with others, but we discovered that we could instead duet ourselves. After selecting a duet or trio written for our instrument and practicing all parts, we learned the basics of recording by using the digital audio workspace called Soundtrack to record multiple tracks of ourselves playing each part of the duet. Not only did this project teach us microphone and digital music skills, but it also enabled us to hone in our rhythm and intonation mastery. Some students even took their recordings to the next level by incorporating other instruments that they play or even adding beats and loops. Please enjoy a few short samples of Duet Yourself projects from Joseph Shim, Caleb Rogers, and Renee Mohammadi.
So continuing to think of creative ways to engage with music making, our orchestra had the chance to reimagine one of the most iconic pieces of classical music, Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, which you just heard. So we listened to a podcast series in class about Beethoven, his contributions to music, and how the myth of the genius artist has impacted the way classical music is perceived and experienced. After this, we had the opportunity to actually play this very challenging piece in class as best as we could, given that half the students were here and half the students were online, and we only had the chance to meet twice a week. Still, we then set up microphones and we recorded ourselves actually playing short snippets of the piece to create what are called stems. Each snippet was specifically chosen to represent prominent melodies within the piece. Using these recorded stems, we got to experiment with them by dragging them into Soundtrap, and from there on, we were able to change the tempo, add beats and loops, and even cut up and rearrange the piece. This was surprisingly difficult, and no two projects sounded exactly the same. So with this being said, please enjoy a very creative example from Alison Kresh.
Now, in continuance of our theme of reimagining, our next piece challenges the norm of traditionally playing classical music in orchestra. This is an intense, up-tempo piece in a power rock style, similar to the Ramones, Green Day, or the Foo Fighters. The spirit of the piece is enthusiastic, embracing of living in the moment. We have been using this piece to embrace techniques such as chords and accented or syncopated rhythms that create grooves. Please sit back and enjoy our performance of our next piece, titled Today.
Good evening. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I hope you've enjoyed so far the showcase of learning that we've had this year. It's been a strange year, but we've made the best of it, and I'm really, really excited about all the work that your students have done. While this year has presented many obstacles to actually making music, we've learned a lot of good things through this experience. But the communal experience of making music together was really, really difficult. So, throughout all the different schedules and configurations of classes, preparing for this performance was not easy. In fact, Friday night was the first time we actually were all together. So I'm really, 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 I know you're not supposed to say really that many times, but I'm really proud of this group of students for the great work and effort and commitment they've given as we've kind of wrapping up the year. So thanks to all of your wonderful kiddos. Before jumping into recognitions, I need to just take a couple quick moments to thank a few people. First off, I'd like to thank my music department colleagues, Chris Corpus and Jason Landis. These two humans are not only dedicated to making amazing things happen for their students, but they are also endlessly kind and supportive, and they make coming to work a lot of fun. This has been a rough year for teachers and students and parents, I know, but this experience really brought our team together. So I've really enjoyed having this year with them, and I'm so grateful to work with them. Next, I need to send a huge thank you to Ben Webb, who works tirelessly behind the scenes to make all these amazing things happen in the auditorium. As more of the restrictions have been lifted, it seems like we're cramming everything into the last couple of weeks of school, and I just think his efforts kind of go not unnoticed, but often not given enough credit. So I really want to thank Mr. Webb for making this happen. Next, I need to give a thank you to Mr. David Greenfield. Mr. Greenfield's been a staple of our music performances throughout the years. He spends countless hours setting up equipment and recording and then editing all the video to document and share the wonderful work our UHigh performing arts groups share. And he doesn't even have a student in orchestra. And he's still here tonight. So huge shout out to Mr. Greenfield and his team, Evan Greenfield, Caleb Shim, Erica Rosenberger, and Dalton Spalding for all the work they're doing to make this happen as well. I also need to thank our orchestra booster parents. So these two parents were just kind of recently deputized this about a week ago when we found out we were actually going to have a concert and I needed some help getting dinner ready for the students. So I just want to send a huge thank you to Katie Sembeck and Candace Shepard for kind of helping get the food ready and dealing with the kids and getting them fed before the concert. It was really amazing. And I need to make a quick note. There are treat bags from the booster parents for, I hope I get this right, there's one for each family, and then seniors, there's something special for you. I believe they're marked with your names, and there'll be a table. So look for that. But one per family, I believe. So. And then I also need to send a quick thank you to some of the students that have really helped out this last couple weeks. I really want to thank Emma Bottomley for always being so quick to offer help and for really anything. So she almost never says no, which is probably a blessing and a curse, right? But she always challenges herself to make amazing work and complete it, and I just really appreciate all her efforts. She was the one who put together the program for tonight. If you didn't scan the program, there are stands up there with a QR code. If you just take your camera, it'll bring you to a website that is our program. And in that program, I want to also share there's a second tab for student work, and there you can find our digital portfolios page where your students' work is all uploaded. So if you're interested in seeing what your child, we played a few examples here, but obviously we can't play all of them. So if you're interested in seeing what your student has done, please check out that part of the website. I also need to send, where am I on my page? Thanks to Renee Mohammadi and Caitlin DeKierskeeter for helping out with the theater through these weeks of performances. We've had a lot of performances, and they seem to be here all the time. So, and then finally, I need to thank the UHigh administration for allowing us to actually have a concert in person with a real audience. I know it's been a difficult year for them, and they've been doing a lot of work, so I appreciate any support that they are able to offer the Fine Arts Department. Okay, so I need to begin the awards presentation, and I'd like to start by recognizing those students who received Division I ratings at the IHSA Solo and Ensemble Contest. Last year, rewind a couple, a school and a half ago. Last year, this contest was held on March 7th in 2020. And it was the Saturday right before spring break when everything kind of closed down. So this was sort of the last official thing our students did before everything shut down. And unfortunately, we did have a quick Zoom meeting last year to say farewell at the end of the year, but we didn't really get to give public recognition to those students who earned Division I ratings last year. So I'd like to take a moment to do that right now. So receiving a Division I award for either a solo or an ensemble performance last year were Amelia Kim, Henry, actually, why don't you stand up when I call your name? Amelia Kim, Henry Ernest, Renee Mohammadi, Alicia Han, who's not here, Edward Kim, and Caitlin Hall, who actually did a piano solo, yeah, last year? Also, I'd like to recognize Henry Ernest for receiving the Best of Day Award for his violin solo. This year, the 2021 Solo and Ensemble Contest, like many things, was held virtually. Students were required to submit a recorded video performance, and it was evaluated by judges. While it would be so simple for these kids to just kind of not do it, because there's so many things to do, and it wasn't a real performance per se, so many kids still gave the effort to submit a performance, and I'm really pleased with how many students we had representing us this year. So this year, receiving the Division I awards for solo and ensemble performances were Allison Krush, Richa Shukla, go ahead and stand up when I call your name, Richa Shukla, Joseph Shim, JJ Park, Aaron Kim, who did a violin and a viola solo, Amelia Kim, and then we had an ensemble that was consisted of Henry Ernest, Noah Davison, Roberta Kearney, and Joseph Suh. This year, the ILMEA auditions and festivals were also held virtually, and students submitted again a recording of their audition. And from there, some were chosen for the district and some were chosen for state ensembles. As there were ILMEA performances, as there were no ILMEA performances, those selected were invited to participate in workshops with renowned clinicians. And once again, our orchestra students rose to the occasion and represented UHigh very well. Students, please stand when you hear your name. This year, those chosen for the ILMEA District Orchestra Festival were Emma Bottomley, Henry Ernest, Caitlin Hall for both orchestra and jazz, Kemedy Hauser, Aaron Kim, Amelia Kim, Allison Krush, Renee Mohammadi, Joseph Shem, Even Shin, and Joseph Suh. Based on those auditions, only the highest scoring sophomores, juniors, and seniors were selected to move on to the ILMEA All-State ensembles. Students chosen for All-State this year were Henry Ernest, Amelia Kim, Joseph Suh, Renee Mohammadi, Joseph Shim, Even Shin, and Caitlin Hall, again for orchestra and jazz. We also found out that two of our students were also had the top scoring auditions in their sections of the state. So congratulations to Joseph Shim and Caitlin Hall for being the top cello and bass in our district. Sorry, not the state, our district. State, I don't think they compare numbers, but they did a great job in their performances for our district. So Joseph and Caitlin Hall. Okay, I'm trying to make this quick. I got a couple more to do. I'd like to hand out one final award here. I'm honored to present this year's National School Orchestra Award to Joseph Suh. And Joseph, would you come over and I can give you your trophy? There it is. Enjoy. So aside from consistently modeling solid musicianship, and just being a general musician that really pushes himself to lead and hone his craft. He also demonstrates those leadership skills to the chamber orchestra and by supporting other students, and most importantly, this positive, patient, and adaptable attitude. Outside of his roles as a performer and mentor of the ensemble, Joseph also composes music, which we heard earlier, and has represented University High School at the all-state level for his compositions. He was awarded first prize for his compositions both in 2019 and 2020, as well as an honorable mention for a second composition in 2020. His efforts and contributions have been greatly appreciated, and I wish him the most amazing journey as he moves forward. So congratulations, Joseph, and thanks for everything. This is where I have a confession to make. I tried my best to be so organized, and I realized yesterday I could not find my tracking sheet for varsity letters. So I'm unable to tell you who earned a varsity letter, but I will get that out as soon as possible. But I know there are many students who have worked hard to, they're taking lessons, they're auditioning for things, they're doing solo and ensemble. And so at UHigh, we often award students with those varsity letters and pins as they earn points in their orchestra. So I'll get that sorted as soon as I find that, and I'll get all the letters to those of you and pins to those of you that earned them. So apologies about that. Lastly, it is my privilege to announce the UHigh Orchestra Class of 2021. This year, we are graduating 9 ensemble members from our program. Seniors, as I call your name, please stand. And Emmy, can you help me out here? I have a little gift for you. So Emmy's going to come to you, and you can select one. So Noah Davison, Caitlin DeKiersgeeter, Henry Ernest, Maya Cabe, Caitlin Hall, Renee Mohammadi, Even Shin, Joseph Suh, and Audrey Trevarthen. So these are duct tape lotus flowers, and I hand them out. I've handed them out to seniors many years now. And lotus flowers grow from the mud and extend out a beautiful, massive blossom on stems that are strong and resilient. And I find the image to be the perfect analogy for learning. And thank you so much. Did you give one to Caitlin? At bass, there you go. I find this to be the perfect analogy for learning and life. The most beautiful things that we become are often born from struggle and hard work, and of course, good fortune for all the people and opportunities that help us along the way. As I made these for you, I thought about the wonderful music we've made, the laughs we've shared, and the inspiration I received from all of you. And I'm so thankful that our paths crossed. I'm sorry we didn't have the year together that we dreamed, but I'm really excited for you as you move on and to find out all the amazing things that life has in store for each of you. So thank you so much. Seniors, let's give them one big, massive round of applause. Thank you, seniors. So my apologies for spending such a long time talking. There's a lot to get through. Let's get back to the music. I'd like to bring up Ben Davison to introduce our next piece.
Up next is Spring Breezes, an orchestral arrangement of a popular Taiwanese folk song. Many of us were moved by the tragic events in Atlanta this year. As such, we searched for music that might help us to respond musically and reflect on the event. In accordance with this year's theme of reimagining the musical space, acknowledgments of different cultural communities are an important step that we as musicians can take at a local level to improve diversity and representation in an orchestral setting. Unfortunately, it is very challenging to find music written by composers of diverse ethnic origins who are able to authentically represent their musical cultures and communities while remaining accessible to high school musicians and also staying affordable for music programs. The beautiful melodies and colors of Spring Breezes allows us to become familiar with other musical cultures while asking questions about authenticity and stereotypes. Ultimately, the importance of learning about and experiencing different music helps us connect with unfamiliar cultures and sounds, which will hopefully begin to bridge gaps between us and build empathy for each other. Please enjoy Spring Breezes with performances by a variety of seniors.
Earlier in the year, when we had no idea how long remote learning would continue or if we would ever make music together again, the orchestra chose to prepare a medley of themes from the Nutcracker ballet. We each practiced our own parts at home and then recorded them individually into Soundtrap by playing along to a master track. We learned that recording takes a lot of practice and patience as it is very challenging to get the music just right. After recording, we then edited our parts into sections for first violin, second violin, viola, cello, and bass. Lastly, the sections were edited together to create a full orchestra. To make our virtual presentation a little more interesting, the idea of creating an animated video to go along with the music was suggested. As the chamber orchestra makes their way back down to the pit, we would like to present to you the final cut of those efforts. We would also like to thank the following musicians who went above and beyond to create the animations, many of whom had never done anything like this before and stretched themselves to learn new skills. The animators were Grant Zimmerman, Emma Bottomley, Henry Ernest, Noah Davidson, Joseph Shim, Renee Mohammadi, and Zoe Wetter. Please enjoy the 3-minute Nutcracker, music by Tchaikovsky and arranged by Lloyd Colney.
done a lot of talking tonight, but since it is our first and last concert as seniors and our last concert as high schoolers, we as seniors have some presents that we want to give to our sections. So we'll start. So usually, the seniors of each section take charge every year. But this year, the cello seniors, Joseph Sa and I, were online for all or most of the year. So the cello juniors, Joseph Shim and Ben Davison, did an incredible job stepping up and becoming, quote unquote, cello parents this year. So for our gifts to the sections, we have a mug for cello mom and a mug for cello dad. We are so grateful to you guys for taking care of the cellos this year. And this is a reminder to the younger cellos that you don't have to be a senior to take initiative. We are so, so proud of you, and we know that our section is in good hands after we're gone. Thank you guys so much.
Hi everyone, my name is Caitlin and I am the bass section senior this year. Ever since my freshman year, the bass section has always got along. Being the smallest section can be hard from time to time. If one person doesn't mesh with the group, it can ruin the whole thing. Even though I haven't been in class for the past year, I came back today and that same energy was still there. The most important thing that a bass section can do is keep the beat. But arguably, the next important thing is to maintain a group that vibes well with each other. This year, the bass section is receiving a friendship keychain that says Best Buddies Forever to remind you to keep the close-knit spirit of the UHigh bass section alive.
Hi, my name is Caitlin DeKurskeeter, and I'm a senior violist. Many times, violas feel overlooked in orchestras, but I think that in the UHigh Orchestra, the violas are a force to be reckoned with. Noah, Maya, and I all decided to pass down gifts to the viola section that we received when we were younger. First, I have this bottle of glue to remind the violas that we're strongest when we stick together. Oftentimes, viola harmonies are the very glue that helps the orchestra stay together. Next, one of the most meaningful parts of UHigh Orchestra is sectional rehearsals, where each sectional has the chance to rehearse with their section members and work on technique specific to their instrument. Last year in viola sectionals, I told the violas that if we played so loud that Mr. Souder told us to be quiet, I would bring them cake. Spoiler alert, I brought them cake. So, although I don't have cake with me right now, I have something that's just as good. A frozen microphone that sings. So, violas, I hope that this frozen microphone, sorry, I hope this microphone reminds you to play boldly with a great tone. Noah, Maya, and I are also proud of each and every one of you, and we wish you the best of luck in all your future viola endeavors.
For the violins, similar to many other sections, if not all, of our seniors were online, and to add on to that, UHigh violinists have often struggled against the large numbers of lower strings. With all of this taken into consideration, it's safe to say that the violins have been put through the ringer this year. For our entire violin section, the seniors have gotten little crown hats and noise-making devices to remind our violinists, as well as any parents suffering the consequences of our gift, that they are superior to all other sections of the orchestra. For legal reasons, that is a joke. And that we should be loud and proud during our daunting circumstances that we have been placed in. We've also gotten you little Hershey kisses to represent how much we love and care about you all, socially distanced, of course. We're also proud of you, and your courage and confidence throughout this year has blown all of us away. And in addition, last year, Irene Park gave me this beret of musicality. And now that
it's my turn to pass it on, I would like to congratulate Joseph Shim for being just a wonderful musician and a complete leader throughout this past year. I'm really proud to say that you are a really important part of our chamber orchestra and our regular orchestra, so thank you for all that you've done. And now that we're all done with senior awards, we have one more gift that we would like to hand out. Mr. Souder, if you'd like to approach the podium.
Mr. Souder, I have seen not just your first day teaching orchestra at UHigh, but your 0th day. I don't know if you remember, but I, like a lot of the seniors on the stage and down here, were here when you came in to audition for the teaching position the summer before my sophomore year, was it? Yeah, sophomore year. I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I hope I can. But after we saw all the teaching candidates, the students were asked to rank each one from 1 to 3, the one that they liked most. And all 20 of us, independently without consulting each other, all put you as first. Since day 0, we've seen your creativity and the care that you have for each and every one of us as students. And ever since then, we've been so thankful for how you've pushed us to redefine what it means to be a high school orchestra. So as we stay near or move far away, as we physically pick up our instruments or just imagine drummers and their drum sits in our head, we'll be forever grateful to you and the impact that you've had on us. Thank you so much, Mr. Souder.
Good evening, friends and families of UHigh, and thank you for coming to our spring orchestra concert tonight. I am Joseph, and as one of the graduating seniors, it is my absolute pleasure to speak with you here today on behalf of the entire orchestra, as well as the chamber orchestra, which sits in front of you now. We will be performing the final piece of tonight's program. Please allow me to introduce the chamber orchestra, its members, and its founding mission at this time. Before I do so, I must say that it has been my complete honor to be a part of this orchestra out of all these wonderful, amazing orchestra students, and of course, especially under the direction of Mr. Souder. Now, the chamber orchestra is a student-led extracurricular ensemble that was originally founded 4 years ago during the 2017-2018 school year by my older brother, Matthew, under the direction of the previous director of the laboratory school orchestras, Mrs. Ehrlich. The purpose of the chamber orchestra at the time was to provide high school musicians with the opportunity to further explore and develop the musical interests and talents through a supportive, yet dedicated, environment with a variety of intensive chamber music repertoire. The nature of chamber music, a form of classical music that is originally composed for a small group of instruments, naturally allows for close communication and collaboration between ensemble members. I am positive that any one of our members, past or present, can speak to the experiences they have gained from play from one another. While the pandemic largely impacted our ability to play, I would like to thank everyone in the ensemble for taking the time after school to come to rehearsals, even those who have been remote, who have had to travel from home every single week. Furthermore, as a founding member of the chamber orchestra 4 years ago, I have had the wonderful opportunity to partake in a multitude of performances, both in and out of the orchestra environment. Over the years, the chamber orchestra has taken steps to perform publicly across open venues, including the Blair House and most recently, Uptown Normal. For tonight's last performance, we have prepared a string arrangement of the finale from Beethoven's Fifth Symphony with respect to the theme of reimagination of Beethoven and his place in classical music. Having performed and rearranged parts of his Fifth Symphony, these thoughts can lead us to wonder about how we represent Beethoven today. While he is and will always remain a significant figure in our world of music, we should consider the extent to which he's represented in this space and the agency he holds over both the musicians and those who choose to perform his music, as well as those who choose to listen to it. Now, with that being said, I again would like to state that
It has been my absolute honor to watch these outstanding individuals, both in the chamber orchestra and in the regular orchestra, choose to dedicate their time and talents to become part of something so greater that they too may pass on the spirit of not only chamber music, but the insights and inspiration that paves the way for future generations to follow and do the same. Now, with this final performance, I wish the chamber orchestra in their best in their musical journeys ahead, and for all the students that have yet to find themselves a part of this community. Please welcome the chamber orchestra as we perform a string arrangement by Deborah Baker Monday of the finale from Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
that concludes tonight's performance. But before we go, just thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this showcase of music from this year. But let's give one last round of applause for this amazing, amazing group of kids, the Chamber Orchestra and the University High School Orchestra. Thank you all so much for your efforts. Thank you. Have a great night.